My name is Akriti Manandhar, and I am the Media Associate at the International Center for Integrated Mountain Development, ICIMOD. It is my pleasure to moderate this webinar today. We are organizing this event as a part of a week-long series of events, a week for mountains, if you will, to mark the International Mountain Day, which takes place on 11 December every year. From 10 to 17 December, our events are dedicated to acknowledging the importance of mountains and highlighting this year's theme, which is mountain biodiversity. We'll be very happy to see you in other events as well. Since we have a large number of attendees in this virtual event, I'd like to kindly request the participants to ensure that their microphones are turned off, their videos are turned off, and to our distinguished speakers today, may I please request you to place your mobile phones on silent. I'll request each individual speaker to turn on their videos just as I introduce them. Now, I'd like to invite the head of our attendees management and communication unit, Dr. Laurie Vasily, for her introductory virtual event remarks. Over to you, Laurie.
Thank you, Akriti, and welcome to our celebration of the International Mountain Day here at the International Center for Integrated Mountain Development. We have many speakers and a wonderful lineup today. Many speakers who will be speaking on the theme of mountain biodiversity. And we're very honored today that our keynote speaker is Dr. Eklavya Sharma, who is the Deputy Director General of ICIMOD. And for myself, as I was waking this morning and trying to connect with the theme for today, mountains, I had a little bit of difficulty, honestly speaking, because Kathmandu Valley was shrouded in winter fog. And so it was difficult to see the mountains. I couldn't see the mountains. And it made me think about that the mountains are always there, whether we can see them or not. And they're often shrouded in clouds. And that makes it very difficult to see, but they're nevertheless there as guides. And sometimes when we have a lot of changes, a lot of darkness or fog, transitions, change, as has been the case this year, it can be difficult to see our way through. And so that made me think of Dr. Eklavya Sharma, who has helped so many people see their way through. He's been a guiding light for so many people, and we're honored at this moment, which is very close to his retirement from ICIMOD. Just requesting colleagues to mute their mics. Thank you. Very close to his retirement, he will provide this keynote speech. And, I wanted to just say 1-2 words to note just how hardworking, dedicated a man he is. It makes me laugh when I see his WhatsApp moniker, which says, "Work is worship." And I think that is a very telling statement about the man himself. He will stay up with you until 2 o'clock in the morning, submitting a grant application, making sure that all the T's are crossed and I's are dotted. He'll have lift a glass of whiskey with you after that and sing a song. But he's the man who will be up the next morning at 5 a.m. doing it all over again. He has been dedicated to this region, dedicated to mountains and people, to conserving mountain biodiversity. And I'm thrilled that we'll be able to hear from him today, and I look forward to his remarks. A few other highlights of the day. We'll also be announcing the winners of our ICIMOD Mountain Prize. This is a very important moment for us to celebrate the unsung heroes who work often in very difficult circumstances on very challenging issues for mountains and people across the Hindu Kush Himalayan region. And then we'll also be treated to some visual delights from the Bami Dunya photo contest results, which will be announced here today. So I'll end my remarks here and give back over to you, Akriti. Please stay with us through the program and enjoy the day. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Laurie. Now I'd like to kindly invite our Director General, Dr. Bhima Jamsho, for his welcome remarks. Over to you, Dr. Bhima.
Thank you very much, and welcome to all the participants, our guests, and our prize everyone who loves mountains, works on mountains, and believes in the mountains. And this year's theme is very special. It is mountain biodiversity. And today we are here to celebrate a giant person who worked on mountain biodiversity. I'm talking about Dr. Sharma, whom Dr. Lori already introduced. We are celebrating this year's International Mountain Day on biodiversity for several reasons. One, because biodiversity conservation and ecosystem protection continue to remain one of our key core programs.
ठीक है अब हमको बैठना है ऐसे तो इसका कैमरा हमको कैप्चर करे ठीक है ना
Conservation of biodiversity has
चलो फिर
already
अब कहाँ बैठते हैं
been the center of ICIMOD's mountain agenda. Today we will be hearing from Dr. Sharma, and I'm sure everyone knows that if you do a literature search on flora, if you punch in Alnus nepalensis or alder, you will find his name. If you punch in Cordyceps sinensis, caterpillar fungus or Chinese caterpillar, you will find his name popping up. So whether you talk about tigers, whether you talk about snow leopards, caterpillar funguses, or tree species, you will find Dr. Sharma's name. He has been with ICIMOD for the last 20 years or so. And during that period, he was instrumental in establishing ICIMOD's partnership with global agencies, such as the Convention on Biodiversity, the Global Biodiversity Information Facility, as well as so many regional partnerships. He was also instrumental in establishing the transboundary ecosystem protection system, the landscape work that ICIMOD is doing, as well as the river basin management work that we are still carrying on. So today we will be listening to Dr. Eklavya Sharma himself on the challenges, the opportunities that is there before us in terms of conservation, in terms of biodiversity use, utilization, and so on. So the importance of biodiversity to the Hindu Kush Himalayan region. Dr. Sharma is a development specialist. He has always targeted his work to benefit the rural mountain communities. Dr. Sharma is a conservationist. All his work is geared towards protecting species and ecosystems. Dr. Sharma, I think, needs no more mention from my side. He is known to everyone through his scientific publications. He has, I believe, if not thousands, at least hundreds of publications in his name. So without further ado, I would like to hand over to him. But before I do that, I have to mention that he was also the man driving the Hindu Kush Himalayan assessment program, the HIMAP as we call it. This document is now sort of the Bible for ICIMOD. And from there we have what we call the Hindu Kush Himalayan Call to Action. And it consists of 6 urgent goals to action, among which the conservation of biodiversity and protection of ecosystem is one. Recently, the 8 member countries of ICIMOD have come together on 15th of October to sign the declaration on the HKH Call to Action. So that is a lasting legacy that Dr. Sharma is leaving behind for ICIMOD. I am glad to be taking over the role of the Director General of ICIMOD at this hour, when ICIMOD has a bigger, louder voice. And thanks to Dr. Sharma. Now, I would like to end here and welcome all of you to today's celebration of the International Mountain Day. Thank you and President. Namaste.
Thank you so much, Dr. Pema, for your remarks. Now, our keynote speaker, our Deputy Director General, Dr. Eklavya Sharma, will be reflecting on achievements and challenges in relation to biodiversity and the integrated mountains. Over to you, Dr. Sharma.
Thank you very much, Dr. Pema Gamsu, Dr. Laurie Vasily, all senior colleagues, all friends of ICIMOD and colleagues who are attending this very important session on celebrating International Mountain Day. Dr. Pema Gamsu and Dr. Laurie Vasily has really told that how biodiversity has been taken forward by ICIMOD in this long journey of 36 years. So I would really look into and reflect what were our challenges and what are the achievements that ICIMOD has been able to garner over its life for the Hindu Kush Himalayan region. Before I start, I would like to say International Mountain Day was started in the year 2002, and that hallmark year for the mountains is so important, and now every year we celebrate, and somehow or the other, I have been associated with the celebration of International Mountain Day. And rightly this year, the topic on biodiversity is more relevant after COVID-19. We have seen the relationship with nature and people has to be more strengthened. And in that context, to talk about biodiversity is very, very pertinent to me. So I would like to present here why biodiversity for the Hindu Kush Himalayan region and what are the major importance that gives this as a hotspot in the global context. And then, of course, I will talk about what things have changed from the 1980s and where we are, what are the paradigm shifts that we have seen. And then finally, I will see how the Hindu Kush Himalayan region has responded, and ICIMOD being a regional organization, what has been the contribution from ICIMOD. The first part, the Hindu Kush Himalayan biodiversity hotspot. All of you know, globally there are 36 biodiversity hotspots. Out of that, 4 hotspots are in the Hindu Kush Himalayan region. The green part is Himalaya, then we see mountains of Southwest China, Indo-Burma, and then of course mountains of Central Asia. We know the Hindu Kush Himalayan region have 240 million people and 1.9 billion people are in the downstream, and it caters to the food security of 3 to 4 billion people. And the biodiversity has a very important role. Both agrobiodiversity as well as nature-based biodiversity are vital to the lifeline as water is for this region and beyond. And the assessment, which was mentioned by Dr. Pema Gamsu, looked into biodiversity in one of the chapters. And there we could easily see status and 70 to 80% of the original habitat of the biodiversity hotspots in the Hindu Kush Himalayan region. If we look in relation to 15th century, it's gone. So we are actually having only 20 to 30%. And then we have also seen that 1/4 of the endemic species of the Indian Himalayan region could be wiped out by the end of this century. So this is quite alarming if we are looking into biodiversity. And as of now, we still see that 60 to 85% of the rural population in the Hindu Kush Himalayan mountains are directly or indirectly dependent on the biodiversity. Biodiversity is not fully discovered. In that report, you can also see from 1998 to 2008, on an average of 35 species per year was discovered, about 350 species in the Eastern Himalaya alone. That speaks that there is yet a lot of biodiversity which is yet not known to this world. So in this context, the research, the work that is being done by ICIMOD member countries and ICIMOD is very, very important. Just to look at the region, why this biodiversity we are getting so important, and the hotspots. We also see mega biodiversity in the case of Eastern Himalayan region. The major driver is the bioclimatic zones that we have in this region. And interestingly, you can see that dark blue area is extremely cold and wet. And then you see the green part, which is becoming warmer. And then at the foothills and lower elevation, you can see a hot and dry situation. And if we look at the western part, it is arid situation. And if we look at the Eastern Himalayan part, it is wetter. And the Eastern Himalayan, if you see, this is the most wet region in the world. Highest rainfall we get up to more than 12 meters in Meghalaya, one of the states in northeast India. And in the year 1974, up to 24 meters of rainfall. There is a wet desert in that area. So you can imagine how contrasting climatic condition from east to west and bioclimate from the south to north we have seen. And when we look at the elevation and distribution of vegetation and then as we move up, warm temperate and then cool temperate, subalpine and alpine region. And on the right-hand side, you can see biodiversity. Very much flagship species like snow leopard, which you can find right from in the mountains. And this you can see all along the arc in the higher elevation of the Hindu Kush Himalayan region. So this species also migrates, but more interestingly, you can see black-necked crane, which is in the Tibetan plateau, and then it also migrates in winter. And in Bumthang, you can see winter roosting to black-necked crane in the agricultural land. So then the rhododendron, very interestingly, in this elevation, the arboreum you can find right from the lower elevation, and you can get this species right up to the highest elevation. But the form changes from tree to shrub and like that. So because of the climatic condition. And then, of course, you can also see very much endemic species which is found only in this region, like the red panda. Of course, species diversity and endemism is the most important and critical part of the biodiversity hotspots. And these 4 hotspots, as you see, Himalaya, Indo-Burman, mountains of southwest China, and mountains of Central Asia. The plant diversity, mammals, birds, reptiles, amphibians, and freshwater fish are presented here. In the parentheses are the endemic species number, and the normal number outside is the species diversity. And you can see so rich area of biodiversity. And if you see all these, I mean, it is around 45,000 or around 50,000 species are found, plant species. And then you can see how much of that are endemic, which is quite critical and important. So for this region, the endemism is quite critical and important, and especially in the tri-junction of Indo-Burman mountains of southwest China and Himalaya, which is the easternmost part of the Himalaya. That's a very high rich species. And just to give you an example here, you will see Myanmar, Assam, all those, that is the tri-junction where you can see. And in this you can see slide the species that have been recently discovered. Leaf deer in Myanmar, then the snub-nosed monkey. So you can see there are still many species which are being discovered now, and they are quite unique to this world. And if they are not saved, I think genetic resources that we have will be also lost. Looking into the status of threatened species, very much the stable is not much. If we look at the population trend, only 16% is stable. Increasing population we have seen in about 12%, but more worrying to all of us in the Hindu Kush Himalayan region is the decreasing trend in the population. So, which is almost 49%, and for about 26% of species, we do not know the status, so that is unknown. So, that is the richness of biodiversity, that is the wealth, natural capital in terms of biodiversity for Hindu Kush Himalayan region. So, now let's move. What has been changing in terms of biodiversity in this region and globally? And then how ICIMOD has been actually be part of this, part of the process of paradigm shifts. Interestingly, if you look at this slide, this is a global discourse. Before 1970, we saw that nature is left on itself. Nothing was much interaction. We didn't know. I'll come to the key ideas, but I think then came a phase before 1990. Nature was looked instead alone. The people were not connected. Then from 2000 onwards, then nature for people. So somehow people have started linking biodiversity and nature for people. And then from 2010 onwards, I think it is people and nature, they have to coexist. So that is the discourse that has changed. And in terms of key ideas, people were working on wilderness, protected areas, very strict nature type of protected areas, species. And then we moved, when it came to nature for people, then ecosystem services, economic values started coming. And then when we are working for people and nature together, then of course we have seen the resilience, adaptability of species and also people and socio-ecological systems. So it's people and ecological systems looking into two. That is the discourse, that is the change that we have seen. And then if we look at the science, people were very exclusively looking at species and habitat and wildlife ecology in the beginning. And then slowly now you see we have looked into ecosystem functions, environmental economics, and finally we are actually now talking about interdisciplinary approach, transdisciplinary approach. Social and ecological sciences are looking on the solution-based approach for nature and for people. I think this is the paradigm shift that we have seen. And for ICIMOD, the changing priorities that how it has happened. All those bullet points which are numbered 1 are the ICIMOD focus. And number 2s are changing paradigm on biodiversity. So what is happening in that period? So I'm talking about 7 period from 1983 to 2022. This is the time scale. And the third is what has been the global discourse during that period. So interestingly, you can see 1983-87 when ICIMOD was just established, I think ICIMOD was putting its very much foundation, then identifying its own niche, and globally UNEP's global biodiversity assessment happened during that period. And then we moved into the next one, 1987 to 1993. So ICIMOD as an organization and program got established during that period. So, and then mountain biodiversity got focused. And CBD was established in 1992, Convention on Biological Diversity. That is the global change that we have seen. Then when we move from 1994 to 2002, the major global achievement is that that year was this Millennium Development Goals in terms of ecosystem approach was included in CBD. Globally, and ICIMOD started developing partnership and putting forward mountain perspective very much. And in the International Year of Mountains, which was launched in 2002, ICIMOD's visibility in terms of its work on biodiversity also got projected in Biscayne, in Johannesburg, and in all the forum. Also, ICIMOD was able to bring mountain populations meet to Yoksam in Sikkim, where people and biodiversity linked traditional systems were discussed. And interestingly, in that year, ICIMOD was able to bring women. Women are the custodians of traditional knowledge systems, and from all over the world. In Bhutan, International Women Conference was organized, so interestingly, in 2002. So in that also, biodiversity, people, and women's role was quite important. In 2003 to 2007, systematically, ICIMOD started to work on regional partnership. And then, of course, very interestingly, in all over the world, in contribution of mountain, this work for program was established by Convention on Biological Diversity. I represented ICIMOD in the ad hoc committee to actually develop the program, mountain program for CBD in 2003 in Rome, and based on that, in 2004, this was adopted. An ecosystem assessment report, Millennium. So all of you know, this was also published and launched. The milestone for ICIMOD was 2008, when we organized an international conference on biodiversity, and then we started to think on ecosystems and landscape approach. That was very, very important. And by then, ICIMOD conceptualized the transboundary landscape, which I will talk later on. But meanwhile, I think in that period, IPBS was also established, and ICIMOD contributed. I was in the formulation launching meeting in Bonn in Germany when IPBS was launched, and I put forward the work of biodiversity that ICIMOD and the Hindu Kush Himalayan region was doing. In 2013 to 17, I think ICIMOD has much more established its work on transboundary landscape, and globally also transboundary landscape and ecosystem services were moving forward. And in 2015, the SDGs were agreed, and Paris Agreement came, and then Sendai framework on disaster risk also came. So all these looked into the biodiversity as one important element for nature, for ecosystems. And finally, 2018 to 2022, Dr. Pema mentioned about the ministerial declaration. We are moving forward with Science Policy Forum, and in that, how biodiversity would take a very important role is somehow we are seeing. We are also profiling the synergy across, and then of course, CBD COP 15 is going to happen next year. We are actually doing already an assessment with CBD and UNDP for South Asia, and Global Landscape Forum is also very important, where ICIMOD is contributing. Now, the changing paradigm shift in terms of conservation. The first is the 1930 to 1980 charismatic species were conserved. And then from 1970 onwards, habitat for the species like tiger habitat or snow leopard habitat were started. So nowhere people were linked. And then came the buffer zone community-based approach in 1990 to 2002. And then in this approach, we have seen somehow people, ecotourism, for interaction in protected areas in buffer zones started coming up. So people linked with nature started in that period. And I'm very happy to say from 1998 onwards to 2020, right now, I see landscape and ecosystem approach, where we see people as an integral part of ecosystem, of landscape. So this is the evolution in terms of our work. In Hindu Kush Himalayan region, we have seen an increasing trend in protected areas, and you can see it cumulatively. But more importantly, if we look at the area covered by protected area management in the Hindu Kush Himalayan region, about from 11% of area, now it has reached to 41% of 4.3 million square kilometer area in the Hindu Kush Himalayan region. It's a significant amount and area which is under protected area. So effectiveness of protected area is more important. And now we see why this rise very much from 1998 onwards, because people, more larger areas are integrated, because even the community, the people are part of the protected area management system. Just to give you an example of Kanchenjunga landscape here, very quickly, I would like to say that 1995 or so, the biodiversity work in ICIMOD started, and I see Dr. Ajay Rastogi sitting here in 1997. He, with Professor Pai Singh ji, organized Kanchenjunga first regional meeting, where Nepal, India, and China participate. That is the beginning in terms of biodiversity work on landscape and transboundary. That happened. In 2000 to 2004, we see CBD got mountain program of work, so that really helped, and ICIMOD further started working, and ICIMOD's work was more on science. From 2005 to 2009, that international conference in 2008, in ICIMOD, right in this hall, we were able to bring 14 global players, about 100 people, and then we designed the program on transboundary landscape and north-south transact of the Hindu Kush Himalayan region. And from 2010 to 2014, then of course we moved into very much from Kanchenjunga landscape science, then the Kailash landscape, and then other landscapes started. We started to work with. And now I'm very happy to say that out of 7 Hindu Kush Himalayan countries are actually implementing transboundary landscape program. And then from 2015 to 2000, so implementation started. Now, how ICIMOD has been keeping the pace with this global and regional development in terms of biodiversity. Interestingly, you see in the documentation early phase, 1983 to 87, we worked natural resource management and agrobiodiversity as very strong link. And on the right-hand side in the map, you can see we have farming systems, 5 types: specialized farming system, mixed mountain agropastoralism, cereal-based hill farming system, shifting cultivation, specialized commercial systems. So here, agriculture, natural resource management, and biodiversity were integrated, and it is how the development was taking place. And on the right-hand side, you can see on the elevation, all these specialized pastoralism are in the highest high altitude areas, followed by agropastoralism, number 2 in the subalpine areas, and then we have cereal-based hill farming systems in the middle hills, shifting cultivation in the eastern Himalayan region, and then we had specialized crops like in Himachal Pradesh, the apples were coming, Darjeeling tea, and Assam tea, like that. So very much natural resource agrobiodiversity were interlinked. And in ICIMOD from 1994 to 2002, we have seen a documentation and dialogue phase. We had very interestingly, Professor Pai Singh ji organized a big meeting on banking on biodiversity and global stores on biodiversity working in the Hindu Kush Himalayan region was brought. This is the first comprehensive document that was developed by ICIMOD. Then Hands Around Everest, very much where transboundary issue, Chomolongo and Sagarmatha were being discussed. So the Mountain Institute and ICIMOD very much worked, and also with WWF to get this done. And for the easternmost part, Khakaboraji, the Eastern Himalaya meeting was conducted, and this biodiversity for the Eastern Himalaya region. And the conversation dialogue had started for conservation in this region. So very interestingly. And then, of course, from 2003 onwards, we have seen ICIMOD on the ground. And the first example of a good science, a comprehensive assessment that you can see in this slide is Kanchenjunga landscape, where you can see a range of protected areas. They are not connected, disconnected, somehow in the context of climate change. When species are having a range shift, they need to be connected. So that's why Kanchenjunga landscape and connectivity corridor approach started coming. Globally, I think we were having this national strategy and action plan. So for Kanchenjunga landscape, Bhutan, India, and Nepal, they were working. Then we made a regional cooperation framework, which was then adopted, and we moved forward. And that actually catered to mountain biodiversity program of work of the Convention on Biological Diversity, very much looking into this region on transboundary cooperation. And then, of course, globally, we were trying to reduce the loss of mountain biodiversity. So then from 2008, not only Kanchenjunga, then we made this transboundary landscapes. They are presented here, 7 of them. Now we are actually working the far western one and 2, they were merged, which we call Bame Dunya, which is having cooperation between Pakistan, China, Afghanistan, and of course part of Tajikistan, as they are dependent within the HKH region. So this is how we have evolved. Interestingly, for India, I would like to mention here on NBSAP, National Biodiversity Strategy and Action Plan. I was part of that committee for Government of India when we were, and for the first time in the document of India, the transboundary approach was started. So this is very, very breaking point, and now you can see many of these transboundary identification of sub-landscape were part of that, and now we are able to cooperate, and we could bring a number of countries to work there. In 2008 onwards, vulnerability assessment of the Eastern Himalaya took place, and you can see here we have taken biodiversity, vulnerability, water-related, human well-being, and ecosystems, and we moved forward. Then we started strengthening the global partnership. Of course, CBD was already, we were interacting. Then, of course, GBIF, Global Biodiversity Information Facility, Global Mountain Biodiversity Assessment, GMBA, and then we were working very closely with UNEP on biodiversity for some of the assessments. And then, of course, IPBS came, and you can see we have IPBS reports come, and I'm very glad to say now IPBS is also taken covering this Hindu Kush Himalayan region, and ICIMOD could contribute. And finally, if you look at ICIMOD's program, now well-developed program on transboundary landscape, and we have all these 7 countries out of 8 countries are actually having action on the ground, regional cooperation. They are very much interestingly developed from east to west. The westernmost part, Bame Dunya, high alpine, arid, endangered species is the focus. And then when it comes to Kailas, it's the sacred landscape and the unique biodiversity and culture. And then when we go to Kanchenjunga landscape, then you see protected areas, they are not connected, so connectivity corridor, and then connecting all these to adapt and be resilient in the context of climate change. Then very much looking into the far eastern Himalayan region is the most richest biodiversity. And then along with all of these, we are also implementing RED+, reducing emission from deforestation and forest degradation. That also helps in habitat integrity of these landscapes. Now on the synergies from 1970 into 2022 and consolidation, and when we look at the ecosystem services, on the research publication that is happening across the Hindu Kush Himalayan region, we see there are in China very good research is happening in some parts of Nepal, India, some parts of Pakistan, and some parts of Bhutan. There are research, but we need to really strengthen the work on ecosystem services. Looking at the biodiversity, those round circles, if you look at, very interestingly, you will see the research papers publishing on biological values. And right through even now, so research publication on biological values are coming. Interestingly, well-being was not recognized earlier, and slowly you can see from 2011 onwards, well-being is prominently coming in terms of the research outputs. And the resilience value is also coming now. So there is a change in terms of research, in terms of biodiversity-related work. And when we look at the human wildlife conflict, also we see in the Hindu Kush Himalayan region quite good distribution, and publication from India and Nepal on the bar below, they are quite significant. So we see
This doesn't mean that in other places there is no conflict, but more research and documentation has been done in this region. So global outreach, I feel very happy that ICIMOD has been in most of the global outreach programs for biodiversity. But to mention two very important one, COP10 in Nagoya, because right now we are actually trying to see Aichi targets, how they are being achieved. So that is a very important one. And the other one is COP11, and that happened in India, Hyderabad, which is also very important that one of the regional member countries of ICIMOD was hosting that. So in that context, both of them are very, very important. In Nagoya, you can see our current new DG, Dr. Pema Gamso, as an agriculture minister, attending the international mountain session, where I was also present. And the other one, this is ICIMOD's biodiversity pavilion in Hyderabad, where our former DG, Dr. David Morden, with our colleagues, we are sitting there. IPBS global outreach, it is very, very important in scenarios and models for biodiversity and ecosystem services. This region is represented as well as in the other reports. So I think this is a very big contribution. So when we relate our work, I think I just want to give a scale and didn't want to describe. We are working at local level, linking at the national level, and how all our 8 countries collaborating at regional, and then representing and contributing to a global agenda set by CBD, IPBS, and SDGs. So this is the work. ICIMOD's contribution to mountain biodiversity in UN agenda, Rio 1992 conference. ICIMOD was very much there for writing a chapter which talked about mountains. And then CBD was established, so that was quite critical in the International Year of Mountains 2002. This populations meet in Sikkim, then International Women's Conference in Bhutan, and of course mountain summit in Bishkek, which was concluding. And I'm very happy to say here that ICIMOD had a delegation going to Bishkek with all our regional member countries, and it worked very, very well. And that is a big turning point for biodiversity research and mountain-related work for the Hindu Kush Himalayan region, because we were able to bring prime minister level participation from Bhutan and of course from other countries, and from Nepal also very high level delegation. So that was quite important. CBD, of course, 2003 I mentioned, and then there was an article on MRD on a mountain development program by ICIMOD, and I'm very happy to say that that was the first article on mountain program of work for CBD published there. In COP10, of course, we had all these targets. Right now, we are looking into the report for South Asia. Then, of course, HK's country status report was also published. And we work very closely with UNEP on this. And in 2020, of course, we are doing the assessment. Finally, coming to the last part, I think scientific assessment, which Dr. Pema Gamso mentioned, was the Hindu Kush Himalayan assessment report published in 2019 by Springer Nature Open Access. But as this gave a very important findings for the countries, we went with the findings to the countries, and the HK's call to action, the document was developed, co-produced with the countries. And meanwhile, then we had a big disruption from COVID, and then the policy paper on COVID was developed. So all these 3 documents are critical for future for ICIMOD. And the actions were developed, ecosystem resilience, the climate change, and all these 6 actions are contributing to each other, and of course our biodiversity work. So finally, the Hindu Kush Himalayan Ministerial Summit has signed a declaration for working together in the future. And in this moment, I would like to say that ecosystems, nature, biodiversity, people, people's livelihood, the gender issues, the indigenous communities, and countries sharing all these natural capital. It's a global asset. It's a pulse of the planet. And now, so happy to see all the countries have come and committed themselves to see how we can protect this planet, pulse of this planet, and the Hindu Kush Himalayan region. What happens here actually impacts all over the Earth, the globe. So that is why we call it pulse of the planet. And in terms of food security, almost more than 50% of the populations are depending from the resources of the Hindu Kush Himalayan region. So that clearly shows that we are very much in that line. So in the context of the sustainable development of mountains, in the context of resilience on climate change, biodiversity is fundamental. It is the resource that can give the chance for the humanity to take or protect the pulse to continue this planet as a living planet. So biodiversity is fundamental, and we need to work for this. With this message, the evolution of biodiversity-related work in the region and ICIMOD, I try to present. I hope I have done justice to the topic on this very important day. Thank you very much.
Dr. Sharma, may I please request you to turn your video on so that our participants can also see you? May I please request all participants to turn their microphones on and give a big round of applause for Dr. Sharma. And now, moving on with our program, I'd like to announce that we are going to announce the ICIMOD Mountain Prize Award. And for this, I'd like to invite Dr. Laurie Vasily again. Over to you, Dr. Vasily.
Thank you, Akriti, and this is a very exciting moment. The ICIMOD Mountain Prize is meant to honor individuals, organizations, or private companies working within the Hindu Kush Himalayan on issues.
I'd like to invite.
Can I ask colleagues to mute their mics? Yes, thank you, thank you. It's a very exciting moment, and we've got a number of announcements to make, so I'll try to be very quick. We have 2 winners of the ICIMOD Mountain Prize this year, and we've got a number of honorable mentions. So because we may have some language issues, we'll call on some colleagues if translation is required. But I would like to introduce to you one of the 2 winners of the 2020 ICIMOD Mountain Prize, which is the Jagrati Swam Sahitya Group from Majkali village in Raniket, Almora district, Uttarakhand, India. So we've got a plaque here for them, and had we been able to meet in person, we would be able to give this plaque. But I'll read the commendation. In recognition. Sorry, yeah, thank you. In recognition of your innovative work toward gender equality and transformational change in the mountains, your work clearly values the landscape and seeks to preserve and promote traditional culture through the role community women play with international guests who are immersed in an environment where they can clearly see resilient leadership. So congratulations to the Jagrati Swam Sahitya group, and I would like to invite a representative from that group to make very brief remarks right now. Are you there from Uttarakhand?
आप सभी लोगों को मेरा नमस्कार। मेरा नाम सुशीला देवी, मैं जागृति समूह की अध्यक्ष हूँ। सर्वप्रथम आप लोगों को पर्वतीय दिवस की हार्दिक शुभकामनाएं। हमारा 2011 से हमने ये समूह शुरू किया, जिसमें श्री सामान्य अजय रस्तोगी जी का बहुत योगदान है और इसमें 30 कोर्स हो चुके हैं जिसमें 500 बच्चे आ चुके हैं। धन्यवाद।
So Sushila ji, the president, she is congratulating.
Yes, we were getting a translation, I believe. Mr. Ajay Rastogia, can you unmute?
Okay, yeah. So can you hear me now?
Yes, thank you.
Okay, so Sushila, the president of the group, she is congratulating everyone on the Mountain Day, thanking for the award, and also mentioning that we have done 30 courses with 500 or more students from across the world so far, since 2011.
Thank you so much, and greetings from Kathmandu, and congratulations for all of the inspirational work that you do. Thank you so much. Congratulations. Thank you for that help in translating also. Okay, we'll move on then to our second winner. Thank you so much, from Uttarakhand, India. Our second winner is a man who works here in Dolpo, Nepal. And I'd like to announce the second winner of the ICIMOD Mountain Prize for 2020, Binod Shahi. I will read the commendation here in the plaque. Binod Shahi, who works with is the founder and director of the Snoyak Foundation in Nepal, in recognition of your outstanding work in 16 schools and the engagement of 56 fellows in Dolpo. Your passion for mountains shines through your work to improve mountain schools and opportunities for youth. Your achievements are inspirational, from promoting enrollment in local schools to developing and distributing educational materials, honoring local culture, and engaging YAC fellows as outside motivators. Mr. Binod Shahi, are you there? Can you say a few words?
Namaste, thank you. Namaste and good morning, everyone.
Please proceed, Binodji.
Oh, thank you. Okay, so I'm honored to be present here, and I'm more than humbled to be awarded with 2020 ICIMOD Mountain Prize. And again, grateful to the team for the finding me worthy of this recognition. And special thanks to Binta Jason for nominating me. From my childhood, I wanted to do something for my society, for the nation. And 16 years back in 2004, during the Maoist insurgency period, I took my first trip to Dolpa as a teacher. I had planned to stay there for a few months, but then Dolpa suddenly became a home to me. It felt like I belonged to the Dolpa. But there was so many obstacles: the culture, the language, the lifestyle, the socio-political situation. I had to be part of them, learn their language, adapt, adjust, and be accepted as one of them. And the next challenge for me was to convince people about the importance of education. I had to get the students to the classroom. I would travel the villages far away to take classes for the students willing to go to the school. Go door to door to insist parents send their children to the school. conduct adult literacy classes. Thankfully, we got considerably number of students to attend the school. I consider this one of my biggest achievement. Then, with the support of community leaders and lamas, we started reopening the government schools, which had been non-functional since 2-3 decades. Then supporters join in, other organizations join hands to help schools function, and we started to notice that people from the certain class become more depend and expect more from the outsiders. The supports were heavily misutilized, and they gave up on their development responsibilities. So bearing in mind that my responsibility there is not to give them fees, but to make them realize their potential to fish and come up with ways to fish. In 2010, we stopped accepting foreign donations and start solely Nepali funded school. The idea was to generate necessary support from the village community itself and Nepali communities around the globe. We took this as the opportunity to introduce Dolpa to the rest of the world too. And for this, a necessity of team was felt. So in 2014, Islamic Foundation was finally registered, a group of like-minded people in the support of being one of the kind, fully Nepali funded NGO, came together to institutionalization activities in Dolpa. With Isnoyak Foundation came more responsibilities, more schools required our support. We started fellowship programs. Local youths were hired as a teachers. Number of students enrolled increased. People started to notice our work more. And we had urged government appointed teachers to come back to teach, tackle allegations, be transparent, but most of all, ensure sustainable quality education for our Dolpo children. We were still fulfilling our responsibilities at the Islamic Foundation without giving up on our principle and values. The journey of Vinod Sai and Islamic Foundation started with 32 children and 2-3 teachers, and now we have worked in 18 villages to educate 1657 children through 56 fellow teachers, and have taught more than 5,000 Dolpalis with various programs and efforts by being a solely Nepali funded organization, which is almost 13% of Dolpa's population. Thousands of youths, several Nepali organizations, school students, children, households, housewives, people from in and out of Nepal have joined hands with us in support of Dolpa. For now, we have come past the important stage of our work. For the next stage, we plan to make Dolpa sustain on its own. We want Dolpalis to take development initiatives and realize their resources and potentials. And that vision has also started taking its form. A few communities in 50-50 partnership with us to bear the expenses of running schools, and now a few communities have agreed to bear 90% of expenses. Even students contribute locally grown grains and hops in exchange of stationaries provided to them. This all just to make them realize that realizing responsibility will lead to the sustainability. And as I see it now, I was destined to bring out the superhero side of Dolpa and people involved with us. Now, Isnoyak as well as Dolpa has many hero stories to flaunt. Salute to all these heroes and humble gratitude to each and everyone. We still have a long way to go. Fulfill Vinod Sai and Isnoyak's dream. Thank you again for this award. Have a good day. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you so much, Vinodji. It's very inspiring to learn about your commitment and your work. Of course, resilient communities, it's very critical to provide robust educational opportunities. So thank you, and we're eager to learn more about your work in the future. I'd like to announce now If colleagues could mute themselves. Yes, thank you. Yes, thank you. Our group we had such a wonderful response to the ICIMOD Mountain Prize call for nominations this year. And so we've got quite a number also of wonderful honorable mentions. And I'd like to announce the honorable mentions, beginning with the Third Pole, which is a media organization whose journalistic work spans the region and whose multilingual platform is dedicated to promoting information and discussion about the Himalayan watershed and the rivers that originate there. I'd like to introduce Dr. Joydeep Gupta, who is the South Asia Director for the Third Pole. Are you there, Joydeep?
Yes, I'm here. Thank you, Laurie. An honorable mention is actually the ultimate accolade a media outlet can wish for, especially in this fake news era, you know. We at the Third Pole are really thrilled at this recognition of serious, credible, and objective journalism for over 10 years that we have been doing on the ecology, economy, and the people of the Hindu Kush Himalayas and the vast areas downstream. This honor has been made possible by the very enthusiastic help of ICIMOD and of hundreds of journalists, researchers, and residents in this region and beyond this region. Your recognition now spurs us to greater efforts to bring the voice of the people to policymakers and to the larger community concerned with sustainable development in the water tower of Asia. Thank you.
Thank you, Joydeep, and thank you to all of the Third Pole contributors. Your work is very important, highlighting critical issues for the region and bringing the region to a global audience. And thank you for joining. I know that today is a busy day for you also. So thank you, Joydeep Gupta from the Third Pole. I'd like to introduce next Ms. Kim Keen Shui, who is the Executive Director of Friends of Wildlife. This is an organization which works across Myanmar, promoting community participation in biodiversity conservation. Kim Keen Shui, are you there?
Yes, sure. Yes, I am.
Wonderful to see you. Please proceed.
Hello, everyone. I'm Kan Kai Sui, Executive Director of Friends of Wildlife, a local conservation NGO in Myanmar. Maybe all know that our organization is a small one, but we are struggling our best to be a well-respected, strong, effective, and sustainable organization in Myanmar biodiversity conservation. On behalf of our organization, I'm extremely honored to be receiving such an important honorable award, ICIMOD Mountain Prize 2020. Thank you. Namaste.
Namaste to you as well. Thank you. Thank you for joining us today. I'd like to also introduce the Komoltari Polykolyan Samiti, which works on forest management involving indigenous communities in the Chittagong hill tracts of Bangladesh. I believe we have a representative from the Samiti. We have a pre-recorded message, so my colleague will play the pre-recorded message. Sorry, we're having a little bit of a technical difficulty with the audio. Okay, we'll try to work out that detail, the technical detail with the audio. Apologies for that. We'll work that out and come back to our honorable mention from Bangladesh. And we'll move on at this moment to Rehmat Ali Jafardost, who is the founder and chairman of the Chitral Heritage and Protection Society, which promotes campaigns for environmental protection and awareness in Chitral, Pakistan. If we could move to Mr. Jafardost, who I believe is there in our Pakistan office. Please speak. Please. Yes.
بسم اللہ الرحمن الرحیم. میرا نام رحمت علی جعفردوست ہے. اوا ما تعلق پاکستان سے شہر و خلصور چھترا سوم. اوا انتہائی شکر گزار ICIMOD و پورا ٹیمو کہتے ما کورمو حتت خوش کوری اسپا رو حوصلہ افزائی اورینی بیکوز پا انوائرمنٹ سرا ماحولیات سرا کورم کوشن ماحولیات اندرینی سان سری زیادہ حیثیت زمان شنی تاکہ زم شنی پورا کائنات قائم شیر زم نبی روا پورا حیا دنیا شیلی نو بسیر تاکہ زمن کے وقت کی انسان خیال رکھتے خوش کو کہ پورا کائنات و انسان خیال رکھو بوین حتغن دیتی اوا تن خدایو انتہائی من لفظ کی شکر گزار کی کیا قسم ہے اور مت پرائی کی صلاحیت و مت پرائی کی اوا ہے زمان سرا وایا انوائرمنٹ سرا کورم کو من جو سان سا لڈو ہے کہ ہندرینی روین حیات توقع بین کہ خدایا اوا پیسدار بام اوا کیا ریسورس مسوبانی تھا وایا کائنات سر کورم کو مسرا خدایو ہے لڈ مہربانی شیر کی اوا تن وقتو چنن مواقع کے وقت ضائع کو کوشش نہ کریے سوم ما کوشش ہے ہمونی بوین کی کیا انسان کی کورم کورک مشقت ایسے نیچو نستان ذہنو جستگیو تن ذہنو انوائرمنٹ کی انسان صحیح رکھتے تن مجھے احساس کی انسان پیدا رہے تو تن ذاتو انوائرمنٹ کے صحیح بیچتے ایسے کئی قسم انوائرمنٹ خراب حتی انسان کے وقت نہ کوئی حتی غنہ دیتی اوتن ریسورس مسان ساجر ریسورس مجم ایسے دنک حتی سے جستا خدایو ہاش لوٹ مہربانی کی تو حسن اخلاقا کستے کی کہتی انسانو تا قدر کیا رو صفتا تا قدر کنی حتی غنہ دیتی سپارو ین ہر دیو چو ذہنتان بچے جاگا سوزیں خاص کوری انوائرمنٹ رو سرس پاکورم کسین اور حتی غنہ دیتی متنین ہر دیا خوشانی بوین اوا کوشش ہاش کسین کی گراس روٹ اٹھو کی اوا ہیلیو ودی مشکمن کس پا کیا اس پا نیوشی کار دی بکام زور اس پا نیوشی ریکو دینو بوسین اس پا تے میڈیکلی پرابلم شینی مگر اوا ہمیتاً کیوت دی اوا سباغ ریکو نبو مان یادو دیر کوئی کیا پوشی کو نبو مان ہمیتاً تان زندگی ہو رہا کیوت دی رکاوٹ اوا نجو شیسوم مگر بینگ انسان کیوت کی دنیا گوین حس حقیقت کی دنیا ری کید قسمہ بغلک مگر اوا ہاش عبادت جاشومن کی ایز انسان بیتی زندگی شخص بیکو ساری تو کینو کیا ہے کم وقتو اندرین کہ ہر چیز نیار پیسی بوگے کی تب بکر اشار دی کائنات انسان علاوہ دی پورا ایکو سسٹم کیا خشیر ہمیں تبچنن خدا ایرانی ہمیں تبچنن یاد کرانی پوردو کن لوش تبچنن اس کرانی
جان بات تو کنا ما ٹرانسلیٹ دی کرے لکھ
اوکے سر تھینک یو ویری مچ اب آخر اب شکریہ کو تھینک یو ویری مچ
تھینک یو Mr. Jafardost, he is telling his story and he's very happy and would like to thank ICIMOD for nominating him for honorable mention this time, and he is very grateful for ICIMOD for that. And he says that mountains are the major pillars for the beauty of the universe. Had there not been mountains, I think the beauty of the universe would have been not there. So, and another thing that he mentioned was that he is working on protection of environment in the Chitral and mountain areas, but also the entire Pakistan. And for that, he says that you don't need to have always money to do that. And he says that if you have that voluntary, nature, and if you can do voluntary work, I think reaching to the grassroots level, and he says that I'm not very well educated, but I know what to tell people to conserve the mountain and environment. This is what he's doing, and he's really proud of. And so that's what the summary of what he said. Thank you very much. बहुत शुक्रिया Mahardi for your message. Thank you very much.
Thank you also to our colleague Farid, who provided the translation. It's wonderful to have the voices of the region, the languages from across the region here with us during this program today. So we'll go back now to our message from our honorable mention from Bangladesh, the Komachari Kalyan Samiti. So my colleague will load that message, and we should have worked out the technical details. We're just waiting on the video, pre-recorded video from our honorable mention from Bangladesh.
Somehow we always struggle with this streaming.
Yes, we have a problem with the sound. So, yes, sorry, we'll have to come back, and I'm terribly sorry about that. They were very considerate in sending this pre-recorded message, and we've not been able to figure out the technology. These are some of the challenges, as we all very well know, of operating in this current environment. So our next honorable mention is Sewang Namgyal, who is currently the director of the Snow Leopard Conservancy India Trust, and who works on biological diversity conservation in Northwest India. Are you there, Sewang?
Yes, I'm here, Leslie.
Please, we'd love to hear your remarks.
Yes, at the outset, I wish a very happy International Mountain Day. My name is Sewang Namgyal. I'm the director of the Snow Leopard Conservancy India Trust based in Ladakh. I congratulate the two worthy winners and all the others who have been recognized. And I'm deeply humbled and privileged to receive this recognition. And I thank ICIMOD and the selection committee for recognizing my work. This is a great encouragement. My name is Sewang Namgyal. I'm the director of this, but the entire team here in Ladakh to ramp up our work to conserve the snow leopard for the mountain ecosystems. Thank you so much for this recognition.
Thank you and congratulations. Your work is indeed inspiring on a personal and organizational level.
Thank you.
From China, Professor Ma Yoshu of the Grassland Institute Jinzhou Academy of Animal Science and Veterinary Medicine, who has over 25 years of work in black soil land restoration. I believe Professor Yoshu Ma is not able to join us this morning, and I believe one of our colleagues will read out a statement. Professor Yi Shaolin.
Okay, so ladies and gentlemen, so ICIMOD Director General Dr. Pema Jiangzhou and all the distinguished guests. I'm Yu Shou from Qinghai Province, China. So I cannot believe that I've been selected as the recipient of the honorable mention for the 2020 ICIMOD Mountain Prize. Firstly, thank the ICIMOD, thank my research team and my organization, Qinghai Academy of Animal Science and Veterinary Medicine of the Qinghai University. My work on black soil restoration China and this honor cannot do without the joint efforts of my colleagues of the degraded grassland research team. I believe they also deserve this award, and I think I happen to represent them in accepting this award. Through thick and thin, they have always been my precious teammates, advisors, and above all, friends. I want to take this opportunity to thank them all, and I want to share with them the pleasure and honor of receiving this award. Thank you very much, and I will be trying my best to continue to contribute to further growth of our work and the university. Thank you.
Thank you. Important work in black soil conservation. So we'll give it one last try for our Komalachari Polykolyan Samiti from Bangladesh, Chittagong Hill Tracts, working in the Chittagong Hill Tracts of Bangladesh. Oh, are you there? Yes, it looks as though from Bangladesh, Mr. Kirtimoy Chakma is here himself. Are you there?
Hold on. Inena. ये तारक लाइव दे
Yes, if you could say a few words and we'll be happy to translate.
বলেন আপনি বলেন আমি ট্রান্সলেট করে দেব কীর্তিময় আপনি বলেন কীর্তিময় আপনি বলেন আমি ট্রান্সলেট করে দেব
আমি নমস্কার আমি হেডম্যান কীর্তিময় সাতমান আজকের অনুষ্ঠানে ফুল্লে কল্যাণ সমিতিকে 2020 সালে
Your microphone is on mute there in Bangladesh.
We could not.
আপনার কথা বোঝা যাচ্ছে, আপনাকে আমরা দেখতেও পারতেছি, আপনি একটু কথা বলা শুরু করুন।
হ্যাঁ, কথা বলেন, কীর্তিময় কথা বলেন, সময় কম, অল্প আপনি 2-3 কথাই বলেন।
আর মোবাইলটা এদিক নড়াচড়া না করে আপনার দেখতে পারতেছে, আপনি কথা বলেন তাহলেই শোনা যাবে, আমরা সবাই দেখতে পারতেছি যেহেতু শোনাও যাবে।
The mic is off actually.
Right. So, Dr. Rasool, we're having some difficulties because their mic is muted there in Bangladesh. And we'll have to move on because our program is running a bit late. But we're very happy that you were able to join us from Bangladesh and the important work that the Samiti is doing in the Chittagong Hill Tracts. So congratulations and thank you. So congratulations again to all of those who have both the winners and the honorable mentions for the ICIMOD Mountain Prize 2020. Your work is inspirational, and as you can see, it's a range of different work across academia, grassroots level, wildlife conservation, soil conservation, an incredible range of work, and we'll be highlighting this work on social media into the future. So please do watch there. And I'd like to end this segment of the program and thank again all of the ICIMOD Mountain Prize winners. You are mountain heroes, and thank you for your dedication and your work. I'll hand back over now to Kriti Manandar.
Thank you so much, Dr. Vasily. And congratulations to the winners of our ICIMOD Mountain Prize and to the honorable mentions as well. So now it's time to announce our Bami Dunya Photo Contest winners. And for this, I'd like to invite Dr. Srijana Joshi Rizal, our ecosystems specialist. So over to you, Dr. Rizal.
Thank you, Akriti. So I would like to share my screen first. So is my screen visible? Can you see my screen?
Yes.
Okay. Very good morning, everyone, and happy International Day to everyone. We'll be announcing...
Just put it in the presentation mode, please, Srijana.
Okay. Yeah. Is it fine now?
Yes, beautiful.
Very good.
Happy International Mountain Day to everyone. We'll be announcing the winner of Bami Dunya Photo Contest 2020 very shortly. Before that, I would like to give a short background of Hindu Kush Karakoram Pamir landscape, which is also known as Bami Dunya, roof of the world. Hindu Kush Karakoram Pamir landscape is one of the highly fragile alpine ecosystem with very unique history and geography. It has a very rich history and diverse culture, language and ecological endowment. The landscape is the meeting point of three highest mountain range Hindu Kush, Himalaya and Karakoram, with high peaks, glaciers, high altitude wetland, alpine pastures and unique flora and fauna of global significance. So the main aim of this landscape initiative is to enhance biodiversity conservation and sustainable development among the connecting countries Afghanistan, China, Pakistan and Tajikistan. So the main objective of this photo contest was to provide an opportunity to both professional and amateur photographers to capture, share and showcase powerful image of the landscape beauty through creativity and talent, and also to raise awareness about the importance of a need to protect and promote ecosystem on the lines and principle of sustainable resource use, while also showcasing the treasured natural and cultural wealth of the HKPL. So divided this photo competition into three phases. In the first phase, we designed the contest, and in the second phase, we announced the photo contest in the social media. And in the third phase, there was a jury assessment, and decision was made for the photo competitions. So now I would like to request my colleague Jitendra Bajracharya to give the snapshots of the photos that were submitted in the photo contest. Thank you, and over to you, Jitendra ji.
Srijana, you'll be continuing, is it?
Sorry.
Please do put your, yes, you put it in presentation mode.
Okay. Okay, moving ahead. So under the category 2 for Public Choice Award, we have photos from Hunja. You can see that we have around, we received around 15,000 votes for this wonderful pictures from Hunja Valley. And the winner for this award is Farhan Ullah Beg. Congratulations. $50. So under the category 1, the third place winner is the picture was from Karakoram Glacier. This photo was taken during an exhibition to K2, and the winner for this prize is Mingma Gyalje Sherpa. Congratulations. The prize worth $2,000. For the second place winner under category 1, we have pictures from Asmar Hussain. $300. So under the first place winner under category 1, we have pictures from Hunza again, and the winner is Moise this. So I would also like to thank all the jury members who supported us for this photo contest. So we have Gulam Rasul from Pakistan, Srijana Joshi, and Jitendra Bajracharya, Dr. Yi Shaoling, and Raju Bandari. Besides that, I would also like to thank ICIMOD KMC team, Dr. Laurie Vasili, Samuel Thomas, Udain Mishra, Shushmita, Bindya Manandar, and Sudeep for their support for this photo contest. Thank you very much. And over to you, Laurie.
Thank you so much, Dr. Rizal. The photos look fabulous. And congratulations to the winners of our Bami Dunya Photo Contest 2020. Now we have reached the end of our program. So for closing remarks, I'd like to call Dr. Laurie Basley again. Over to you, Laurie.
Thank you, Kriti, and thank you for everyone who has participated today. Please excuse our technical difficulties. Have a wonderful International Mountain Day, and please join in the other segments of our event. With this, I would